call of the Hawks can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into the Pod at the Palace Live, a special edition this morning. We're presented by SARACEN. It's Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. I'm Curtis Wilkerson. He's John Neighbors. Cooper Bowser is a Razorback. That's right. You all thought that John Calipari was sleeping. Who knew he was out there making moves behind the scenes? He operates in silence. We just talked about Cooper Bowser on the Pod at the Palace that went out this morning. So if you've been listening to that, you're tapped in with what's going on here. But transfer big man out of Furman, who's been added to the roster to give Arkansas a depth piece that it has needed in the front court for a long time. 6'11", 215 pounds with a 7'5" wingspan. That's interesting. Played for an NCAA tournament team at Furman, averaged 14 points, 6 rebounds, an assist and a half, and over a block per game. John, I think this is the earliest that we have gone live for news since maybe the football program fired the entire coaching staff. Yeah, I think that was a pretty early day.
Yeah, it's a pretty early one, but you know what? We all knew that it would come. The very first portal edition for Razorback basketball would come at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. Like, we just knew it was going to happen. But yeah, listen, I know you've talked about it. You just got done talking about it essentially with Pod at the Palace this morning about being on commitment watch for Cooper Bowser, and there's no more watch. It was a warning, and now it's official. I mean, he's here, and he's going to be a Razorback. But you know, I know that there's going to be a lot of diving into the depth of, you know, what he can add to the team. And you mentioned some of his stats and everything. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend and be like, hey, this is the game-changing addition that's going to take Arkansas from being a good team to an elite level team. But I'm also not going to sit here and be like, this is pointless. Why is this guy on the team? He can't do anything. It's just one of those things where, hey, you need some players, obviously. You need roster spots. You need some guys with some size. Is he as big and as thick as of a guy that you want? Maybe not, but he's at least a guy that has a lot of experience and was on an NCAA tournament team where he had some really good numbers.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. We'll talk about him and just what he's done as a player, and then we'll talk about what this means, like what role he's going to fill for Arkansas here, because I do think it's an important distinction to be made. You know, Arkansas right now, they're recruiting Mustafa Cham out of Cincinnati, and they've been talking to Aiden Sherrill, Santos. Everybody thinks about those big names at the top, and then you make an addition like this, which, in fairness, not a whole bunch of people have heard of, unless they were tapped in with everything that was going on yesterday. So they're thinking, so what is Cal settling? What's going on here? They're broke. They're not going after the big fish. No, that's not true at all. They're just going about things in an order that maybe people aren't used to. A lot of times you think, okay, well, you got a big hole at center. Well, you want to go add that big man, the big time dude, before you go out and add your depth pieces or whatever it might be. The truth of the matter is there's really no order of operation, John. They're recruiting every hole that they need to fill for every role that they need to fill throughout the entirety of the process. Time doesn't stop just because you're recruiting one guy. We know that they cast a net. Sometimes it's a not wide net, as we talked about yesterday, but they're recruiting all these guys. The only thing I was wondering, I'm so glad that I ended the segment on the Pod at the Palace about this dude with this, is I wonder if it's going to be a deal where, hey, he wraps up his visit, we hear a commitment announcement to Arkansas, or if it was going to be one of those deals where this was technically a secret visit that they were trying to keep under wraps. Are they going to make this guy sit on it until they add, whatever top flight players they're going to add, and then go public with it? Even Nick Pringle had been committed privately for a while before he announced publicly last year. I'm glad that it's over with. I didn't think it was going to happen at 7:00 in the morning, but here we are.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, like, if you look at the traditional way, you just laid it out, the traditional way of getting a player where it's you contact the player and then you get them on for an official visit with the player and then you discuss things with the player. You give an offer to the player accepts the offer, and then as soon as that's done, first thing in the morning, he announces the commitment. It's like a very traditional, classic type of way in a non-classical world of how things have been added. But you're right, as far as, getting guys to fill some roles. I know, looking at, his shooting percentage, somebody who may not know what he's doing is like, man, he shoots over 75%. It's like, well, it's a lot of layups, a lot of dunks, doesn't exactly shoot threes, but I don't know. I don't know if this is the case, but you mentioned first thing when you said his wingspan, I'm like, I think this is going to be a guy who got a lot of oops. He's going to be those guys in transition where he's down the court. Is he going to be a Trevin Brazil type dunker? I don't know, but I feel like that's going to be one of probably quite a few roles that he can play where he'll have some ability to get up and get after it and have some cool highlight plays in transition.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to do that. Trevin Brazil, he measured out at 6'10" with a 7'4" wingspan. So this dude's 6'11" and he's got a 7'5" wingspan, and they probably weigh about the same. That's the thing. People look at that and think, oh, well, Arkansas, man, the way they got pushed around against Arizona or Florida, whoever, why are you bringing in a guy who's 215 pounds? One, if you look at him, I think he probably weighs more than that. He's got a pretty chiseled frame. Two, that's not why he's coming here. They're going to go out and get their guy to try to match up with Chinyalu or Krivas or whoever it might be, those big guys. Whether people want to believe it or not, he's being recruited to be the fourth big man here for Arkansas. It's something they haven't had. But you mentioned the alley-oops and everything. You're 100% right, man. When you shoot 76% from the field, it's high percentage shots. There's nothing more high percentage than a dunk. What's fascinating about this is he missed the entire month of January this year. John didn't play, had an injury, something going on, whatever. Then he came back and he finished out the rest of the year. But only 25 games, and he was top 10 in the country in dunks. You know how we feel about dunks around here. He had 65 of them on the season, and heck, if he played the entire year, he might have been up there with the Samtos of the world. I know it's Furman. They're playing against lesser competition or whatever, but that's his thing. He's not out there trying to shoot threes. I saw somebody say that in the chat, not picking on you, but that's not his thing. He's not out there trying to make plays off the dribble or whatever. No, he's setting screens, he's running the floor, he's crashing the boards, and he's just playing above the rim. That's what you want your rotation big to do, and that's exactly what this dude is going to do. He is a high flyer. I'll give him that.
Yeah, well, I mean, watch out, Malik Ewan. If you're coming back, you may have somebody beat you in dunks this year, and lead the team if that's the case, because it could end up happening. But yeah, the injury part of it was pretty fascinating because, that's always it's not like the Jaden Quaintance type thing where he's like, oh, he had this major injury and he didn't play at all, and you're taking a huge risk on all of it. You kind of talked about how he's just, like that fourth big man and everything. I know, we could go way back in time, but I'm sure people were like, who is this player in a comparison to? Like, what kind of expectation? Because nowadays you see guys who are bigs, especially of that size, taking a lot of threes. Well, he doesn't do that. But people will see that he only weighs 215 pounds. So they're like, well, he's not going to be that just dominating force down low. So he's just a very interesting player that, I can't think of anybody that comes to mind immediately as far as what type of player he could compare to maybe previously at Arkansas because of just his unique skill set and also what he's going to be counted on when what he's doing here at Arkansas.
Yeah, Trevin minus a jumper.
Yes, yeah.
And again, like you're not trying to replace Trevin Brazil when you make this addition. You're not trying to replace anybody when you make this this move, because it's just something that Arkansas hasn't had. We've been so starved for extra bodies, man. That's all we ask for. A little bit more depth, playable depth. This is not let's and no disrespect to him, we love the guy. This is not let's go get Elmer Zaffich and he's just on the team, and by God, if we can avoid putting him in a game, we're gonna do that. No. This is an extra guy. When Cal was making his rounds last week on all the shows on ESPN and Barstool or whatever, how many times did he say, yeah, we could have used another big man. Yeah, we probably needed, another player in there. Well, this is it with Cooper Bowser. So I think about for Arkansas, at the tournament when Trevin and Malik Ewan were just sucking air, man, they could barely move out there. They were so tired. They couldn't even defend aggressively at all, because if they get in foul trouble, boy, you're in a world of hurt here, because Nick Pringle can't play. This is a guy who's capable and experienced, who can come in there and give you a few minutes at a time and help you and be an asset. I think about that Alabama game, John, where they ran out of players and you only had 3 scholarship guys out there on the floor at the end. And this is a guy who you can put in there. Arkansas has Cooper Bowser this year. They beat Alabama on the road. Here's how I know this. They had an exhibition against Alabama early in the year. Arkansas played Cincinnati, whoever. Alabama played Furman. Cooper Bowser had 14 points. He had 7 rebounds. He had 6 assists. He had 2 blocks. He had 2 steals. So if you look at it from the role that he's expected to fill, this is a luxury, man. We haven't had this before. A lot of teams don't have that fourth big that they can utilize. Arkansas certainly hasn't, and they do now. And if you expected, more, or like an all SEC guy to come and fill that spot, probably wasn't based in reality. This is a good get for the role that they're looking to fill.
Yeah, listen, I was looking at his minutes per game when he was at Furman last year, and I don't think any Razorback fan needs to see that and be like, oh, so that's what he's going to do at Arkansas. I think he averaged a little over 30 minutes or around 30 minutes per game. I honestly don't see that happening. Like, unless just people get hurt or you really miss out on some other guys in the portal, I don't see him getting those types of minutes. But I'm telling you right now, he is going to be that type of player. I even hate to even make this comparison, Curtis, because it's not talking about skill set, but he could be like a better version of a Jalen Graham, where there's going to be a game or 2 games or 5 games where he comes out of nowhere and has a great game. And you're like, man, if it wasn't for that guy and just finding a mismatch that he had, we may not have won that game. Or coming off the bench and he just sees something, or there's just some sort of mismatch that he's able to take advantage of, whether against maybe some smaller teams that we saw Arkansas play this year, whether it's a Vanderbilt or an A&M or even in Alabama. It's like, he could really be great in that role. Doesn't mean if he goes up against some of these other teams like the Floridas of the world or any other team that has bigs that he'll just be able to flourish. I don't see that happening. It could be nice, but I think there's going to be quite a few games where you look back after this season, next season comes to an end, and you're like, man, that guy had quite a few games, and if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have won those games. So I could see him being also that type of player as well.
Absolutely, man. 100%. Hey, shout out to our partners over at OZK Insurance. They're carrying us here throughout the course of the off season. We finally got a portal pop. They're probably happy about that. OZK Insurance is good stuff, man. We know they're an independent insurance agency, so they're not tied down to just one carrier. They can shop them all and find the best prices and coverage for you. As you see on your screen there, they've got this new full service mobile app. It's really sleek. It's really cool. It's really convenient. And you can do everything from the convenience of your phone. All your policies are there. You can pay your bills. You can get roadside assistance, file claims, request policy changes, or even get new quotes right there from your phone. All it takes is one hand. If you're tired of being stuck with one carrier or chasing down paperwork, just go to ozkinsurance.com or search OZK Insurance in the App Store or Google Play. It's a local agency with national level options, one powerful app. That's OZK Insurance. So, when we found out about this guy yesterday, and listen, they took him to Roost Chris, man. When they take these guys to Roost Chris, it's real. I found out that Cheers was closed. So at first I was thinking, man, this might be a Cheers move. They took him to Roost Chris. They wine and dine him a little bit. And then they pick him up. There are a couple angles to this, but the first thing that I want to talk about is just what I've learned about him. Cause I had to do some asking around. I didn't watch a whole bunch of Furman basketball until I watched them in their conference tournament, which they won. And then I watched them in the NCAA tournament. In fact, what was the name of that place that me, you, and Andrew went to in Portland? We took the Uber to, and it was like, wow, this is the awesome side of town. And we sat there for hours, and we had dinner with that couple from Arkansas and their kids. I can't remember the name of the place. Yeah. I had a burger that had a slice of ham on it and an egg. But anyway, that's where we were watching that game. And yeah, Terrace Reed for UConn destroyed Furman. Well, first of all, Cooper Bowser was playing the 4, not the 5. And then when he was matched up with Terrace Reed, Terrace Reed got the best of him. Of course he did. Terrace Reed is an All-American big man. This guy's a reserve piece for you. But it's kind of interesting just to see when Arkansas gets a guy like this. It's a very Eric Musselman type of pickup. In fact, if Muss would have got him, we'd be like, oh, dude, this is big time, right? Okay, well, how's he going to fit into the mix? We have a different level of recruiting that we expect and everything under John Calipari, but that doesn't mean that these pieces can't be valuable. I was asking around to some people who help with the transfer portal rankings, because you got to know all these guys, right? And the consensus was, hey, you know what? He could probably go to another high major and be a starter and be an impact guy at a really good one, which is what he was at Furman. That's really good numbers on a tournament team. We know Furman's an awesome program, but that he profiled as a high major rotation big, which is exactly what he is here. And I got some really good feedback. Some folks who had some good things to say about him, who watch Furman basketball, even some who have covered, teams in that league, who said he's a very high motor guy, high energy guy, willing defender, a great teammate. He doesn't turn the basketball over. He doesn't try to do too much. Those are all things that I'm trying to hear right there. We talked about him dunking everything, and he had some high major interests too. This isn't something that just came out of nowhere, man. This is a better player than I think people are giving credit to. Schools like Marquette, North Carolina State, Ole Miss had all been connected to him, and Arkansas's got him. So you'll take it. And I think at the end of the day, when we see Arkansas's entire portal class put together and the roster put together, he's going to be one piece of a larger puzzle that I think Razorback fans are going to be excited about, even though they're itching for something crazy to happen as soon as possible.
Well, that's one thing that I would caution any Razorback fans, which it seems like most people are kind of in the camp of, hey, this is a good addition. This is something that can be helpful. Is like, look at the current state of the transfer portal. Like, yes, I'm sure Cal and everybody would love to have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players out of the portal, just like as they're ranked. Just everybody would love that. But the deal is that you're not going to be able to get those guys, and at least at that amount, who are that highly rated, because they don't want to go and split minutes and points and everything with somebody else on a different team. Like, yeah, they want to play next to good players, great players, but they want to be complementary. So you getting a guy like this, who was a perennial starter, who was out for a month this past season and still came back and played nearly 30 minutes a game. So it wasn't like someone took his spot. He was that much valued on an NCAA tournament team. This is a type of player that you can get and you can make work to where it's that fine balance of a quality player, but also not someone who's going to have all these demands of playing time, demands of like, I have to have this, I have to do this. It's like, no, this is something that can be complementary. So, it's just a matter of how you look at it. But I don't know. I look at it in the perspective of, if you just told me about his size, his points per game, and his stats and everything, I'm thrilled with it. Again, now it's a different thing if this is your main big and this is all you get, which we know that's not going to be the case. But again, you got to look at it through the perception of what's the transfer portal status look like in college basketball in general, and knowing that you got a good player who's coming here, who could have gone elsewhere, could have gone to some, as you said, another high major program and been the guy, but he's coming in here to try to do something with Arkansas, with Cal, and take it to the next level. So I'm excited about it. I think it's a great big.
Yeah, I think so too. By the way, he was all defense in the SoCon this year. I get it. The SoCon, the SEC, not the same thing, but how many guys are you picking up to be at the back end of your rotation across the country who are getting, major awards like that from the conferences that they were in? So I will accept it. Let's get into some chats and then we'll get out of here. But appreciate everybody for hanging out with us early this morning, man. That's good stuff. We do have a super chat from Jafra. Says depth piece, and that's great. But is this a calculated pickup based off per 40 or advanced stats? Guy definitely was under the radar. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they looked at some of his advanced stats, and I saw some of that too. His rim efficiency is at just an elite level. We talked about why. I mean, he's so selective with the shots in which he takes, and yeah, a lot of his defensive metrics look good. His overall impact on games is very, very high. I saw his box plus minus. We're talking about nerd stuff here, John. But that was very high in the percentiles in the country. And yeah, you look at those things for sure. And if it's a good fit for what you're looking for, yeah, go ahead and do that. Arkansas, I don't think is looking at this though, saying, is this our diamond in the rough who's going to emerge from the ashes and carry our front court to a Final Four alongside Jordan Smith Jr. and the boys? No, it's not that at all. But it is an under the radar pickup that what I'm guessing, just based on a lot of the reaction yesterday, not so much today, is he's probably going to surprise some people with how good he actually is. But if this was done in reverse order, John, where they had gone out and gotten whoever their star center was going to be, okay, we got our starting four now. Ewan's back or he's not, whatever. Like if you go get all those pieces and then you get the depth, which is the order you usually see it in, people will probably be looking at this going, dang, we're getting that on top of everything else we have. This is great. It's backwards from what people are used to. And I think that's why some, not throwing everybody into a box there, but some are going, wait, what? Why are we doing this? We got bigger things to do. Did you see that guy from Arizona? I understand that line of thinking, but we're just trying to explain to you what's going on.
Yeah, it's a great point, because I was going to say, yeah, if you reversed it where you got your big name, big guy blowing up portal get already, and then you added this guy, I think it's a completely different mindset, because you've like, oh, well, we already know we got our big name. And so this is just a nice piece to it. But when this is the first name, some people are just gonna be like, well, what in the world's going on? Well, just wait. It'll get addressed. But this is just something that's the timing of it all is important.
For sure. I've seen a few of these from Shep. He was like, I was just listening to the Pod the Palace segment about him. Woo Pixui, good. And this is part of the reason why during portal season, I just record and I put these out late at night. I think it was like 1 a.m. when I posted it. And yeah, it might not be that many people who get up and watch it, but some do. And under normal circumstances, the show would have been out for like an hour before this commitment would have happened, and it would have gotten buried, and that would have made me sad. So more people got to watch than normal. And yeah, we might have to talk to him about his timing here I wonder if they were already out to breakfast. That would have been early. I don't know if he had an early flight to catch or if he just woke up bright and early and was like, I can't wait anymore. He's at the Graduate or wherever they put him for the hotel and looking at those Razorback, the wallpaper. And he's just like, I got to do this now, man. I'm posting the graphic. I'm texting Tipton. I'm in. I don't know, but it always cracks me up. We know he gets up early. He's not asleep. He's probably in the gym is what it was.
Yeah, I was going to say it's either that or he just had some like scheduled posts to go out. Like he's just like, all right, I'm calling it a night and I'll wake up and I'll see all the reactions afterwards. But but yeah, no, hey, whatever it is, the timing is, it's great because we talked about how much Arkansas just needed something. Well, they got something here earlier this morning.
Yes, they did. Oh, we got another super chat here from Blake. Appreciate you guys. He says, finally, we got one. His parents must be real big Mario fans. Yeah, that's the thing about this. He's going to be on the all-name team. Cooper Bowser is an elite name. And yes, there's the GIF and meme potential of Bowser is unlimited here. I've already seen people dressing John Calipari up like Mario or Luigi. I've seen Yoshi out there in some of these alongside this guy. There's a lot going on. And yeah, the Princess Peach, all this stuff is crazy. I love the Bowser potential here. And that's another reason why I wanted him. They need to get those jerseys up at Alumni Hall ASAP.
Yeah, hopefully he ends up embracing the whole like weird Bowser from Super Mario Brothers. And hopefully when he's here for Halloween in October, he has some sort of fun costume to go along with it. Hopefully he embraces the Bowser whole thing because that'll make him even a bigger hit here in Arkansas.
Yes, exactly. And just to add to that, Shep, he says now we need a Mario or a Luigi. There is a Luigi who's is an international big, but I remember him getting recruited heavily last year. He's probably going to Purdue or something, but he's 7'2", 260 pounds. He was one of those international players that people were really, really excited about. I think he's committed elsewhere, but I agree. I think you might need a guy like that, and we can just do the entire Italian plumber thing. What do we have from Agroth the Destroyer? Says, excited about a 6'11" player with a 7'5" wingspan, high motor, willing defender, good rotation, big. I think you are listening to the right places is what I think is going on here. Good on you. And then I see the other side of this, and I promise I'm not piling on people this morning, but I saw a lot of it in the Discord yesterday. Before I went to bed, I put a big message in the Discord, and I was like, all right, you cretins, when you wake up, I hope you see this and you avoid the crash out. This is what this is. I want to create a list. I probably will. I'll just go through the entire SEC of who the fourth big was for all these SEC teams. There's a lot of them don't even have one. There's just a finite number who have like a really good piece there, and that's the way in which they play. Florida, for example, they had the Handlockton kid as their fourth big. He played like 12 minutes a game, but that was a good player, and we know how deep that front court was. Maybe we're upset because we expected Arkansas to get that level of depth right away, but you got to think about the way they play and distribute minutes. Cal is going to ride his best players for the heaviest minutes. You need some other guys who are going to be able to step in there and fill some of that gap. And that's what this is. So you're not going to get a player like that to fill this role. Tennessee, who rotates like 6 front court guys in and out of there, you're not going to play the way that Tennessee does. So you also have to consider the style, the way that Cal goes about his subs and everything. He's just because he's going to have 9 or 10 guys that he's comfortable playing, and there's going to be a talent upgrade there, doesn't mean that his rotation is going to be 10 deep. He's still going to play the same number. Now he's just going to have a better option of, okay, this guy's got 2 fouls. Let's get somebody else in here. Oh, we're up by 25 with 8 minutes left. Cool. Let's get this guy in here, utilize it throughout the course of the season. And my God, man, if you have an injury, you're just not looking at the end of the bench with your mouth open. You can actually do something and get somebody in there.
Yeah. That's what people need to realize that. Like, how just look at this past season and how tough that was and how problematic that was. This is something that's going to, theoretically speaking, fix that issue so you don't have to run into it again this next year.
Mm-hmm. I see Ryan in here. He said, ask for a minutes outlook. Is this guy a rotation piece? Yes. Rotation piece, meaning back end of that rotation. Fourth big. And that's all that people have to understand here. From a minute standpoint, I mean, obviously, yeah, sure, you have to wait until the rest of the roster is put together. But for the role that they're looking for, there are going to be some games where plays a couple minutes. It's going to be somewhere he doesn't play at all. There's going to be others, well, where based on the way that the game plays out, whether it's the score or foul trouble or somebody's hamstring gets tight, might play 18 to 20. It's just one of those things. And when somebody's injured, this is a guy who's fully capable. He's played almost 100 games of college basketball, and he's been in an NCAA tournament. If you need somebody to step in and fill in, you got that. So maybe if they do have an injury, we don't do the thing where it's like, oh, we've only got 6 guys, but there's 6 happy guys. Oh no, you add your 7th in there. It's playing a lot more for you, and you're not hemorrhaging down the stretch of the year. Because it felt like at times, man, Arkansas was running out of gas down the stretch of the season, and then everybody was banged up. This is a way to help avoid that with a quality player.
Yeah, absolutely. And also too, real quick, it's like his minutes, I think he's averaging about 29 and a half. So 30 minutes. It's like, say if you just cut that in half and he average 15 this next year, you would think in theory, okay, well, what if he halves his points? Well, that's 7 points a game. What if he halves his rebounds? It's about 3 rebounds a game, 1 assist a game. It's like, obviously we won't half his field goal percentage because that's a little ridiculous, but still the point is that right there, if you just told me those were his stats next year, I'm like, great. I'm good with that. I'm good with a guy averaging 7 and 3 and 1 coming off of the bench as a big man. Give me that all day long.
Yeah, no, man, absolutely. Yeah, we talked about this. It's Pooh doing this thing where he's talking about Terrace Reed and, oh, he did this, he did that. I have to ask, did you watch the game? Because if you did, Furman's starting center was on Terrace Reed, and he had a double-double like by the first media timeout. And eventually they put Bowser on him, and yeah, he scored on Bowser and did a good job against him too, but that was a matchup that never should have happened, and nowhere near all of that went on Cooper Bowser. And it's also one game, so if you're going to use that as an example for what are we doing here, are you going to look at that Alabama game, which is the level of teams that Arkansas is going to be playing, where he shoved it up their rear end? You got to include both ends of the spectrum there. I don't expect him to do for Arkansas what he did against Alabama on a consistent basis. And I don't expect what happened against UConn to happen on a consistent basis. To your point, John, with the role being different and everything, probably going to be a middle ground there, and that's all you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't think Cal's going to be like, hey, you need to go guard the best player on the other team every game.
We're going to put
it's not going to happen, so we don't have to worry about it.
We'll put 40 pounds on you, and
Yes.
and we'll see what happens here. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Heartbroken Hog says, does this count as an official coffee club live? Yes, it does. I haven't even had my coffee yet, so this absolutely counts as a coffee club live. We'll take it. Okay, we got another super chat. There's a couple more, and we'll get out of here, folks. From GT 25644 says, my guess, he's the third string power forward, won't play much. JJ Andrews, the small ball 4. That's the other thing. So it's going to be a matchup dependent deal too. That was my biggest thing with the roster construction last year, John, was in a vacuum. If you look at, okay, well, you got Trevin at the 4. They don't really have an actual backup 4-man. I wasn't even saying they need that guy because you got to have him every single game. He's got to be playing 20 minutes and 20 minutes with Trevin. I wasn't even upset at the thought of, well, but yeah, Carter Knox can slide down and play the 4 for you or whatever. It was that he shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to count on every game. This gives you lineup flexibility and versatility. If you're playing a team where it makes sense to go with, a small ball type of 4-man, yeah, you got options for it. We've seen Billy do it a little bit. JJ Andrews is a physical kid who could be able to do it. Abdu Torre, with his athleticism, the way that he's putting on weight, he's a guy that could do it. And that's all great, but you don't want to look at all 3 of those guys and go, all right, well, who knows who Arkansas starting 4 is going to be, but if that guy goes down or if he's in foul trouble, we're super small the rest of the game and we're playing Florida or we're playing Tennessee. What are we going to do? Or are we going to try to convince ourselves that Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan playing together is a good idea? No, now you have somebody that you can go to. If you need to be bigger in your front court or taller or longer, whatever, then you can be. And that's just something that Arkansas legitimately couldn't do last year. So I look at a guy like Cooper Bowser and I see his experience and I think, yeah, you know what? I'd be comfortable with that. I see a guy, we're talking about depth here. Paulo Semedo coming back, who came here for you. We've seen him. He's 7'1". He's doing all these things, an entire year to redshirt, develop an entire offseason to get in the weight room. So instead of having 3 bigs in the rotation, the end, and if anybody goes down, you're just screwed. They might have 5 guys that they are legitimately comfortable playing. Doesn't mean they all have to play every night, but give me the flexibility, man. Give me the options for sure.
Yeah, that was the word I was going to use. Options. You want options. You have options. This is going to be an option. Doesn't mean you have to use that option, but it's an option. That's what's important.
Yes, for sure. And then the last one here, and I think this is an important question from Kiko Hadar Burner says, Curtis, do you think this helps with Alex Wilkins? And that's the other angle of this that people need to understand. If you heard Furman with this guy, Cooper Bowser, and you're thinking, haven't we talked about a guy from Furman? What's going on? Is this the one? Well, no, it wasn't. But we know Arkansas is searching for a guard. And we've heard the Rob Wright rumors and, Isaiah Johnson, who wound up going to Texas, these different guys. And there's more. It's like Jeremiah Wilkinson at Georgia and Jasper Johnson. Everybody was throwing out there over the weekend. Plenty of names in the backcourt. Alex Wilkins is one of those. He was one of the first ones that we mentioned. And Arkansas has been in contact. And we know that they need to go get a guard. And he's a heck of a lot of fun. So is getting his teammate automatically going to put you in position to land him? I don't know. I don't know how good of boys they were. But it certainly can't hurt. And the thing about Wilkins, he's dynamic. He would solve a lot of issues that Arkansas is trying to figure out there in the backcourt. He was a freshman this year, one of the most exciting mid-major freshman guards in the country. A lot of people are thinking he could be a dude who takes a leap at the higher level in year 2 and be a draft prospect. He's that kind of player. He's 6'5", so a long guard. He averaged 18 a game for that Furman team. So he was the leading scorer, and Bowser was the second leading scorer. But was efficient from the field. He made 60 some odd 3-pointers, 4.7 assists. He was the one that we talked about where it's like, man, you love everything about his game, a little bit turnover happy. He's a freshman. That's something that you can reel in. But he would be a dynamic piece to add to the team. He would be a legitimate rotation guy, like in your top 7 or 8 or whatever it is you're playing. So yeah, I look at Arkansas adding his the guy that he was throwing lobs to all season. I think, this might help. So we certainly have a closer eye on Alex Wilkins too, killing a couple birds with one stone. Is going shopping at Furman going to be the thing that sets you over the top to have a Final Four contender? No, not necessarily. But if you get a couple really good pieces from them, and then you go out there and add your dude, which I'm still looking for in the front court, pay a man to be. You got to pay a man to be a pig, John. If they do that, I think Arkansas is going to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I think going out and getting arguably the 2 best players and starters from a team that was in the NCAA tournament at a lower mid-major to be guys who come off of your bench, that's a good thing. Like, that's a positive thing if you have that. So, yeah, I'd be all for it if they added Wilkins, but at least we know they got one of them. They got Bowser. So, yeah, and again, I can't wait to see what's in store. Maybe this is a floodgate thing. Maybe things just start moving quickly after this. Who really knows? But we know they got one at least, and that's good enough for me for right now, at least.
There you go. John Calipari's on the board. Stop doubting that man. He's not asleep. It's John Calipari, not Chris Chans. What are we doing?
That's right.
We're out of here. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us this morning. I love a little impromptu Pod at the Palace live. That's good stuff. Still, go back and listen to the Pod at the Palace. You can skip the 10 minutes that we talked about Cooper Bowser, but a lot of good stuff in there on Mustafa Cham and Dylan Mingo and Mika Murinen and some other names that people have been asking about. So that's still relevant. And then, you got this little bonus too. But thank you guys. As always, make sure you subscribe to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Turn those noties on. Turn them on because you never know when we're going to go live at 7:30 a.m. to talk about something. And you want to be involved when we do. Find us wherever you find your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere that you listen. We'll see you guys at noon for Inside Arkansas Live. For John Neighbors, it's been Curtis Wilkerson with the Pod Palace. You guys have a good rest of your morning. We'll catch you later.